The door opened and she walked in. Her breathing was heavy, her hair a mess, and her clothes were inside out as if she had rushed to cover herself. I saw marks on her neck, her arms, and her shoulders, marks that didn't belong to me. Her lipstick was smeared, half gone, the kind of smudge that only comes from someone else's kisses. She tried to smile, pretending everything was fine, but I could see it in her eyes. Something was terribly wrong. My name is Daniel Cooper. I'm 34 and I live in Houston, Texas. I never thought my life would turn into a story like this, the kind you only hear in whispers or see in movies. But here I am, confessing everything. My wife's name is Emily. She's 30, with piercing blue eyes and a laugh that used to light up my world. We met in college, and from the moment I saw her, I thought she was it, the one I would grow old with. Back then, love was easy. Long drives to Galveston Beach, late-night tacos after exams, and endless phone calls until one of us fell asleep. I gave her my whole heart, and she promised she'd never break it. We got married 5 years after graduation. A small ceremony, close family, simple vows. I still remember her voice shaking as she said, "I'll always be yours." I believed her, with everything in me. The first few years were beautiful. Sunday pancakes, lazy movie nights, road trips across Texas. We weren't perfect, but we were happy. Or at least I thought we were. Lately, though, things had changed. Emily had started staying out late, claiming she was with her friend Lisa or working late at the clinic. At first, I trusted her. After all, why wouldn't I? But little cracks began to show. A new perfume I didn't recognize, clothes I'd never seen before, excuses that sounded rehearsed. I brushed it off, telling myself not to overthink, but my gut kept whispering otherwise. That night, the one where her clothes were inside out and her body was marked, was the night I could no longer lie to myself. Something was happening behind my back, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I acted normal, forcing a smile when she walked past me. She tossed her jacket onto the chair and headed to the bathroom like nothing had happened. That calmness scared me more than anything. When she came out, she kissed my cheek and said she was exhausted. Her voice was flat, hollow, like the warmth I once knew had drained away. She climbed into bed, turned her back to me, and, within minutes, pretended to sleep. I lay there awake, staring at the ceiling, my chest heavy. My mind raced with questions, but my lips stayed sealed. I wanted answers, but I needed proof. And I knew, sooner or later, the truth would reveal itself. The following morning, Emily made breakfast as if nothing had happened. Eggs, toast, and her usual forced smile. "Big day at work," she said casually, avoiding my eyes. I nodded, but inside I felt like I was drowning. Later that afternoon, I was cleaning up her jacket when a folded slip fell from the pocket. My hands froze. It was a valet ticket. Bayfront Harbor Hotel, downtown. The timestamp read 11:42 p.m., the exact time she claimed she was with Lisa. My throat tightened. I stared at that slip for a long time, feeling the weight of betrayal crash over me. It wasn't just suspicion anymore. It was evidence, small but enough to light a fire in my chest. That evening, I tested her. "So how was Lisa's place last night?" I asked calmly. She looked at me, blinked, and said, "Oh, good, we just talked and had wine." My stomach turned. Her lie rolled off her tongue too easily. I wanted to throw the ticket in her face, to scream and demand the truth. But instead, I slid it back into her jacket when she wasn't looking. I needed more. I needed to be sure before I tore our world apart. Over the next week, her late nights became more frequent. She'd return home with her makeup smudged, hair messy, and excuses ready. We worked late. Lisa wasn't feeling well. Traffic was terrible. Each word dug deeper into my skin. I started noticing other details, charges on our joint bank account from places she had no reason to be. A bar by the waterfront, a boutique hotel, little slips that she tried to cover up with laughter and quick explanations. One night I even caught a faint scent on her, a cologne I didn't own. It clung to her like smoke. She claimed it was just a patient she'd brushed past at the clinic, but my heart knew better. Every red flag was stacking up. Every smile of hers felt faker. Every night away felt longer. And I couldn't help but wonder, how long had this been going on? How much of our life together had been a lie? The more I tried to convince myself to wait, the more restless I became. I had to know. I had to uncover the truth, no matter how much it hurt. And deep down, I knew the night was coming when I would catch her in the act. For now, though, I played along. I let her believe I was blind. But behind my silence, I was watching, observing, waiting, collecting every piece of the puzzle. Because when the moment came, I wanted her lies to collapse under the weight of proof she couldn't deny. And as I lay awake in bed again that night, listening to her steady breathing, I realized something terrifying. The woman sleeping beside me wasn't the Emily I married. She was someone else now, someone I didn't recognize. And soon I'd have to face the truth I was too afraid to say out loud. The morning after I found that valet ticket, I couldn't look at Emily the same way anymore. Every word she spoke, every move she made felt like it was hiding something deeper. I told myself to stay calm, to play it smart. If I accused her now, she'd deny everything. What I needed was evidence, undeniable proof that no excuse could cover up. So I began watching her more closely. I paid attention to the details I had once ignored. The times she left, the way she dressed, the way her voice shifted when I asked simple questions. One Thursday evening, she said she was working late at the clinic. I checked the bank app out of habit, and there it was again. Another charge at the Bayfront Harbor Hotel bar. Same time, same pattern. My stomach turned as I stared at the transaction. I could picture her there, sitting in a dimly lit lounge, not with co-workers, not with Lisa, but with someone else. And the thought made me sick. When she finally came home, her blouse was untucked, her perfume stronger than usual. She smiled at me, kissed my cheek, and whispered, "Missed you." I forced myself to smile back, though inside I was burning. That night, as she showered, I checked her purse. I hated myself for it, but I had to know. Inside was a receipt from a downtown parking garage, time-stamped at the exact hour she had been working late. The walls of our marriage were collapsing, brick by brick. Every little clue, every lie was another crack, and I was the only one holding the pieces, silently watching them fall apart. I tried to test her again. "So, how was the clinic tonight?" I asked casually. She didn't even flinch. "Busy. So many patients," she said with a sigh. Her lie rolled off her tongue smoother than truth ever could. Over the next week, her lies grew bolder. She started dressing differently. Tighter dresses, new heels I'd never seen before. She'd stand in the mirror longer, putting on lipstick she used to save only for special occasions. I noticed the timing, too. She always left after dinner and returned close to midnight, flushed, hair messy, and eyes avoiding mine. It was a pattern I couldn't ignore anymore. One Friday, I followed her. Not closely, not enough to be caught. Just far enough to see where she was really going. My heart pounded as I tailed her car into downtown Houston. She didn't turn toward Lisa's apartment. She didn't go near the clinic. Instead, she pulled into the parking lot of the Bayfront Harbor Hotel, the same name stamped on every receipt and charge I'd found. I parked a few blocks away, my palms sweating on the steering wheel. Minutes later, she walked inside the lobby, her phone pressed to her ear, her smile wide like she was walking into another life entirely. I sat there for almost an hour, debating whether to storm inside or drive away. In the end, I left, my chest heavy, my thoughts racing. I wasn't ready to see it with my own eyes. Not yet. Back home, she returned past midnight, carrying the same perfume cloud that no longer belonged to me. She kissed my forehead, said she was exhausted, and went to bed without another word. I lay awake again, staring at the ceiling, knowing I was on the edge of the truth. The pieces were aligning too perfectly. I just needed one final, undeniable confirmation. The next morning, she left her phone on the counter while she showered. The screen lit up with a text from an unknown number. Room 214 tonight? Same time. My chest tightened as I read those words. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't need to. That single message said more than any confession ever could. She was living a double life, and the hotel wasn't just a place. It was their meeting ground. That day I walked through the house like a ghost. Every photo of us together felt like a lie. Every memory was tainted by the thought of her with someone else, laughing the way she used to laugh with me. I told myself to wait just a little longer, to gather one last piece of proof. Because when I finally confronted her, I wanted to leave no room for denial, no space for lies. I wanted her caught in the act. So I planned. Quietly, carefully, I started looking up small cameras online, places I could hide them in the house. If she dared to bring him here, I would see it. I would know everything. That night, she said she had another girls' dinner. She kissed me lightly and left, her perfume trailing behind her like smoke. And as the door clicked shut, I sat alone, knowing I was about to step into the darkest chapter of my life. For now, I kept my silence, but inside I was screaming. The woman I thought I knew was gone, and soon I would have the proof that would shatter whatever illusion was left of our marriage. I didn't sleep for days after finding that text on her phone. My body went through the motions, work, chores, conversations, but my mind was locked on those words. Room 214 tonight? Same time. They repeated in my head like a broken record. I knew the truth already, but part of me still needed to see it, to face it head on, no matter how much it destroyed me. That's when I made my decision. I bought 2 small cameras, discreet enough to hide in corners of our bedroom. If she brought him here, I would catch them, and if not, I would follow her to that hotel room and finally face the reality I'd been avoiding. The night came quickly. Emily put on her best dress, one I hadn't seen in years. She sprayed perfume until the air was thick with it. She looked stunning, but it wasn't for me. She kissed me on the cheek and whispered, "Don't wait up." I watched her walk out the door, my chest tightening like a vice. I gave her time to get ahead, then grabbed my keys. My heart pounded as I drove to the Bayfront Harbor Hotel, parking a block away. I sat in my car for a few minutes, staring at the glowing sign, knowing she was inside. My hands trembled on the steering wheel as I finally stepped out and walked toward the lobby. Inside, everything smelled of polished wood and expensive cologne. The clerk didn't even look up as I passed. I found the elevator and pressed the button for the second floor. Every second felt like an eternity as the numbers lit up one by one. When the doors opened, I stepped into the hallway. My footsteps echoed on the carpet as I searched for room 214. My heart hammered louder with every step, until finally, there it was. The door was closed, but faint laughter spilled out from inside. I froze. My body screamed at me to leave, to walk away, to pretend I had never come. But I couldn't. This was the moment. I lifted my hand, hesitated, then pushed the door open. It wasn't locked, and what I saw inside will haunt me for the rest of my life. Emily was there, on the bed, her hair messy, her lipstick smeared, her dress sliding off her shoulder, and next to her was him, a tall, athletic man, his dark skin glowing under the dim hotel light. His arm was draped around her, and they both looked up in shock when I stepped inside. "Daniel!" Emily gasped, scrambling to pull the sheets up. The man sat upright, stunned. For a moment the room was silent except for the sound of my own ragged breathing. "So this is it," I said, my voice shaking but steady enough to cut through the air. "This is what all the lies were about. The late nights, the receipts, the perfume. Him." I pointed at the man, my hand trembling with rage and heartbreak. "Daniel, please, it's not what it looks like," she stammered, her face pale, her eyes wide. But the words were hollow. The proof was right there in front of me. "Not what it looks like?" I laughed bitterly, though the sound cracked in my throat. "Then tell me, Emily, what is it? Explain the marks on your body. Explain the hotel charges. Explain this." My voice broke on the last word as I gestured to the bed, to the sheets tangled around them. Tears welled in her eyes, but she didn't speak. The silence between us was louder than any confession she could have given. The man finally spoke, his voice low. "I didn't know, man. I didn't know she was married." I turned to him, my anger boiling over. "Didn't know? You're in a hotel room with my wife, and you didn't think to ask?" My voice thundered, but the rage wasn't enough to cover the hollow pit inside me. Emily finally spoke, her voice trembling. "Daniel, I needed more. I felt stuck. I felt like I was suffocating. With him, I felt alive again." Her words stabbed me deeper than any knife could. "Alive again," I repeated, shaking my head. "And what about me, Emily? What about the man who loved you, who built a life with you, who trusted you with everything? Was that not enough?" She looked away, shame and defiance battling on her face. "You don't understand. It wasn't about love. It was about passion, about excitement. You were safe, Daniel, but I wanted more." I felt my knees weaken, the weight of her words crushing me. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to destroy the room around us. But instead, I just stood there, broken. "Then you should have left me," I whispered. "You should have told me instead of tearing me apart like this." The silence that followed was unbearable. Finally, I turned and walked out, my chest heaving, my eyes burning. Behind me, I heard her call my name, but I didn't look back. I couldn't. If I had, I would have shattered completely. Back home, I packed a bag and slept in my car. The next morning, I called a lawyer. I couldn't stay in a marriage built on lies. I filed for divorce, and when Emily came home, I told her to leave. Her tears didn't move me this time. I was done. The weeks that followed were hell. Papers, arguments, silence, friends and family asking questions I didn't want to answer. But slowly I began to heal. The house felt empty, but at least it was honest. I would rather live alone than live with betrayal. Months later, the divorce was finalized. Emily tried to reach out, but I ignored her. There was nothing left to say. The woman I married no longer existed. She had died the moment I opened that hotel door. Looking back now, I realized the signs were always there. The late nights, the new perfumes, the sudden changes. I ignored them because I loved her, because I didn't want to believe the truth. But ignoring red flags doesn't make them disappear. It only makes the fall harder when reality hits. I share this story not because I want sympathy, but because I want others to learn from my pain. Trust is fragile. Once it's broken, it doesn't heal the same way. And when someone lies to you once, there's a good chance they'll do it again. Love is supposed to be safe, a refuge. But when the person you love becomes the source of your deepest pain, you learn a truth you can't unlearn. And that truth is this: trust, once broken, doesn't heal the same way. If someone lies once, they might do it again. And ignoring red flags only makes them brighter until you can't avoid them.